Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the MarketSite studio in Times Square, New York City, we have Shaikh. He's a co-founder and CEO of Aptos Labs to discuss making Web3 accessible to everyone, everywhere. Mo, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and just refresh the audience, what's going on at Aptos Labs?
Thank you for having me, Jill. Aptos Labs is building a layer 1 blockchain, a protocol that allows you to build decentralized and Web3 applications. We've been building it for 3.5 years before Aptos Labs was founded at a project formerly known as Facebook or Facebook's Libra or DM project. So excited to be live in market and launched since October 2022.
And it's interesting because you have a traditional finance background and now you've made the way into the Web3 space. What's the genesis behind the transition there?
I do, yeah. I mean, it started off quite early for me, actually. My father was a taxi cab driver here in New York City, and I realized that people don't really get to keep all the value that they create. Taxi medallion drivers took a lot of that revenue. I saw the same story repeat when I worked at places like BlackRock here in New York. And so following that trajectory, I saw promise in this decentralized technology where a decentralized blockchain could basically create value or allow for that value to be transferred freely between parties that are either creating or need to use that value. And so it's been exciting to follow that trajectory and, of course, build upon the fundamentals that I did in my finance days here in New York.
Right, and you're partnering with Microsoft to accelerate global Web3 adoption. Tell us about that.
We are. So Microsoft has been thinking about Web3 for quite a while, and the goal together for both of us was to make Web3 accessible. It's quite complex to build applications, and especially compared to the Web2 world. And so what we wanted to do together is make it very easy to bring development and deployment of applications, and also users to be able to use Web3 applications. And so we got together with Microsoft to basically think through these solutions and use their Azure AI services to help bring that to life. And together with them, we're launching a couple of different products that I'm happy to get into.
Yeah, certainly get into that, but let's take a step back for a moment here. When I think of Web2, I think of centralized platforms where Facebook or Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, is the intermediary, right? And with Web3, this is going to be focused more around content creators, where you'll have more control over your data and the content. Is that, for the everyday person, what's going to be the difference? Will social media platforms look like they look now? What is it going to look like in Web3? That's
a great question. When we think about content creators, sometimes they can be individuals or they can be large enterprises. One of the large enterprises that we partnered with is NBC Universal. And when they were launching a movie called Renfield, which is a Nick Cage movie a while ago, they basically wanted to make it easy to be able to connect with moviegoers. And they did that by launching a Web3-based game. And so you come, you squash some bugs, and you win a prize. But ultimately now NBC has a relationship with Jill as a user and can work with you directly instead of having to go through advertisers like the ones that you mentioned. And so that one-to-one direct relationship makes it much more intimate and a more friendly relationship that leads to better economics for large enterprises. But if you're a creator, you can have a similar relationship with an end user and create content for them as well.
But you're also partnering with Microsoft for, it looks like, banking and tokenization and payments and so forth.
That's right. So when we think about our Microsoft relationship, we're starting off with something called the Aptos Assistant. The Aptos Assistant allows you to easily come and build a Web3-based application and then deploy it. And if you're a user, you can use natural language searches to see what's going on in the Aptos world, and you're getting verified results, which is really cool. So if you search something within Aptos powered by Azure's AI, you're getting verified results. Now you could extend that into the finance use case that you basically talked about. Imagine asking, well, how much money moved across the world today? Instead of guessing, you can actually have verified results ultimately. And that's something that we think is meaningful at where the intersection of AI and Web3 come together.
It sounds as if the model for search is going to change based on what you're saying.
The model for search is evolving in front of our very eyes.
Right, right.
And we're very excited to be at the center of that because a blockchain is exactly what AI needs to verify these results. And so, having that verified results makes your search more reliable, more dependent, and you can trust it again. And I think that's something that's going to have a societal impact.
Which is interesting because when you talk about it's happening to us, right now, I think when the moniker blockchain first came to be, it wasn't consumer facing as much. ChatGPT, consumers can see it, students are using it. I mean, my mom and dad are aware of what it is. So I think the fact that it's consumer facing makes it a little bit more relatable than perhaps crypto or blockchain, just isolating the use cases to digital assets or blockchain from a very technical perspective. But we're using this now.
Exactly. It's an excellent point. Having interfaces like the ones you described make it very easy to use a blockchain. And it actually just sits in the background, which we think is the ultimate way that blockchain adoption will take place. Whether it's a large enterprise like NBC, someone like MasterCard, or even PayPal, who just announced their stablecoin,
Right.
a lot of the blockchain is abstracted away. But now you can finally start to trust money again. You can start to trust your search results again. And that can open up an entire paradigm of all the possibilities that we can think about and use cases within categories like finance, but you can extend that into things like social, where we just talked about, even gaming, and media and entertainment. And these are the things that Aptos Labs is focused on building.
See, and this is kind of what's exciting to me, where you're not reliant on what you're paying for ad dollars or where your search comes up, or are you kissing the ring for SEO and so forth, where I feel like the results are more trusted and factual versus, okay, we paid the dollars, this is what's going to come up first.
That's an excellent point. I think you have trust that has traditionally sat with some of the large incumbents
Right.
out there. We think this trust now can be decentralized and actually empower the end user and even the creator or even enterprises. And so we see a much more mutually beneficial, symbiotic relationship versus the antagonistic one where the economics that you mentioned are
Right.
quite deteriorative.
Well, I mean, it also protects your data too, because your data's not for sale.
Absolutely. Well, it can be for sale if you want
If you want it to be, right.
That's right.
All right, Mo, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.